So hi, Lauren. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're so welcome. Can we please start by you please give an introduction to yourself, your business, and what you sell?
So I'm Lauren. I'm the founder of Natrie or Natrie. I'm not sure how everyone says it, but and I have founded a company selling non-toxic, eco-friendly but powerful cleaning products. So they're a set of two concentrates, and they will clean your entire home. So yeah, it's just one of the benefits of them is as well as being non-toxic and eco-friendly, that they are like a minimalist product, so you don't need hundreds and hundreds of bottles under your sink.
Oh, amazing. So these two products, do they clean like literally, could you clean anything in your home with them?
Yes, yeah, pretty much. I mean, obviously there are specialist jobs that you'd need to do, like really heavy lime scale remover. We don't have one of those yet. It can remove light lime scale, um and there might be like, you might need a specialist like mold remover or something, but pretty much any other job, yeah, it can do.
Oh, that's amazing. And I've got so many questions because I'm right in thinking you formulated these yourself, didn't you?
Yes, I did. Yeah. So, well, I did when I decided I needed these products because I couldn't find them. I went on I did a lot of research, started making my own products, like just to use, because I'm a cleaner as well. I've got a cleaning company, so I was a professional cleaner at the time, and started making my own and found out that they were really kind of really good, really effective. Um, but then I realized through a lot of conversations that that wasn't really the way to go. It's not the way that I wanted to go. I didn't want to just make them myself and kind of sell them from home. I wanted to make sure they were all really above board and had been tested properly. So I found a freelance chemist and we started working together. Um, and because she was freelance and didn't have her own lab, I had to do a lot of the testing myself. So we'd talk together and she'd write the formulas, and then I'd test them in the kitchen. So it was a big learning curve for me. I learned a lot about chemistry. Um, but yeah, and then once we've got a working formula, then I took that along to a manufacturer who then obviously took that forward in their labs, did further tests, did all the compliance and things like that.
Oh, that's amazing.
Mm.
Oh, and let's go right back to the beginning if it's okay, Lauren, because
Mhm.
before we got to the point of having your products, I'd love to know. So you mentioned you're a professional cleaner, but what was it that made you think, actually, I want to create my own products? What was it about the products you were working with maybe that weren't working for you?
I think there's quite a few reasons. So one is that, I mean, these have taken me a long time to formulate, I would say, and I think the industry has moved on quite a bit, and there is quite a few good products out there now. But at that time, I was struggling to find anything that was powerful enough. I knew my company was an eco cleaning company. Um, I knew we that's kind of a given for me. I didn't want to be using the kind of really harsh chemicals that kind of do damage to the environment. But I couldn't find anything that was quite strong enough for use. We're in a hard water area. If people are having their house cleaned fortnightly, you need relatively strong products. So that was one of my main aims, just to make it that they really, really worked. The kind of really the big driving force was so it's a bit funny, but it was actually in lockdown. We have twins, and at the time they were potty training, and I couldn't, and my husband was just complaining because he's like, why can't you buy really perfumed products? Why can't you buy these things that just get rid of the smells? And I was like, I just can't, because I react to them. So I've got quite a few allergies, and um I react to quite a lot of the fragrances and ingredients in the products, and so it, yeah, just hit me at that moment. Well, actually, like, why don't I make my own? Because I'm sure, like, everything I'd learned about cleaning, I'd learned quite a lot about what cleans well and what reactions are happening to make things work. Yeah, so that was kind of the main driver, really. The allergies, the
Oh,
allergies,
that's amazing.
with a busy family, it had to work well. So yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I definitely know what you mean because I've always tried to use eco-friendly cleaning products, but you're right, there definitely was a time where friendlier ones weren't quite as effective. Like if you had a
Mm.
stub, I've got white work surfaces. If you had a stubborn stain, for
Mm.
example,
Mm.
it wasn't quite there. So I do understand what you mean. So first of all, were you making things yourself at home and then taking them to your cleaning jobs to use? Is that how
Yeah, I've done that.
you
Yeah.
started?
Yeah, I did. And I started using kind of, the traditional kind of ingredients like bicarb of soda and sodium carbonate and soda crystals, I think they've been known as, just to make kind of pastes and things like that, and they work really well. Um, and I just did a lot of research about all that kind of thing. So I had a good grounding before I went to find the chemist. Because I think one thing is if you're trying to formulate, say, cosmetics or cleaning products or anything that you could probably find effective formulas yourself. When you would take them to manufacture, you would find that they're incredibly expensive to make. So you have to kind of balance. Yeah. So a professional chemist would know where to balance things a bit better than someone who doesn't really know about
Oh, that's
formulating.
really interesting.
Yeah.
And that makes sense because I guess something that you were making in your kitchen for personal use, if you were trying to scale that up,
Yeah.
that could end up really expensive.
Really very expensive. Just unattainable for anyone. So yeah.
You mentioned earlier that your products were concentrates. What
Mhm.
exactly does that mean?
So concentrate means that it has less water in it. So we're quite used to it with squash or things like that. You can buy the little bottles of squash that have been super super concentrated, and all that means is that they have more of the ingredients in and less water. So they're really strong in their neat form, and then you just add water to them to make them usable. Um, I think when I was doing my research, again, there wasn't actually any concentrated products around. There might have been a couple smaller ones. Now there's a few more, which is great. And I hope that this is the way that most industries will go, because a lot of the time we're shipping water around, which is heavier. It's worse for the environment. So to me, it was really important that we took that step and made them concentrated.
Oh, amazing. Thank you for sharing. I hadn't even thought about that. So people receive a smaller bottle of the product and then do they decant it into something bigger and add the water? Is that how it works?
Yes, so they do. So one thing about my product is it's a small bottle, but it's not just one. I call it a shot. I don't know if that's the right word, but it's not. It won't just make one bottle. So if you take your concentrate, pour it into your big spray bottle, and add water, a lot of them will just make that one bottle. But when I started working on the packaging side of things, I realized that I just didn't want um, single-use packaging of any sort. So I had a really, big think, and I thought, should we do like a massive bottle that you do, that might be like 10 bottles? But then again, I looked at the costs of that, and I thought this is just too expensive. So we kind of compromised, and we got three or four, depending on your final usage. So if I explain it a bit better than that, both concentrates 100 ml bottles. The bathroom, you use 33.3 mils. You pour that into your forever bottle, and that's all marked on the side. You don't have to measure it out or anything. You literally top up with water, top up with soap, top up with water. So it's really easy. So your one concentrate for bathroom will make you 3 bathroom sprays. So you're buying one, and then that will probably last you anywhere between 2 months, 3 months. It depends how much you clean your bathroom, really. The all-purpose concentrate is the same. It's a 100 ml bottle, but that would make 5 bottles of multi-purpose, because it's a smaller concentrate. It's a smaller amount that you need. Or it would make 2 bottles of multi-purpose and 2 bottles of kitchen. So it's a little bit complicated, but we're trying to explain it as much as we can kind of on social media and show the videos and trying to get that message across. But essentially, you're spending a little bit more on your concentrate, but that's lasting you a lot longer. And then the cost per bottle is actually quite cheap. It's kind of more economical than some of the pre-mixed eco sprays.
That makes sense. And then can people buy those spray bottles from you as well?
Yes. So yeah, we sell the labeled forever bottles. Again, they have the markings on the bottle, so you wouldn't have to buy them, but it definitely makes your life easier because one, they look really nice, and two, they've got the markings on the side. And we do have an option there of a glass bottle for people who want that kind of different feel. Not every glass isn't for everybody. As a professional cleaner, I couldn't have carried around glass bottles because they're just so heavy, but they do look really, really nice on the side, on your windowsill. So both options are there.
Oh, that's amazing. And I'd never thought until you said it about, and I think it's actually something I saw on your social media, Lauren, about the fact that so much water is being shipped around.
Mm.
And I guess you've really got me thinking that a lot of this probably is unnecessary.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I mean, there's majority. If you look at the majority of products, it will be water first. And even on ours, it does say water because there is still a little. You still need a little bit,
Yeah, of
but
course.
it's so different. And water's heavy, and then you've got to think about the kind of CO2 from transportation as well as everything else. And it's just there is no need. I mean, we could concentrate so many products, I think.
That's so clever because I hadn't actually thought about the fact that, of course, we can all turn on the tap, or most of us can turn
Yeah.
on the tap and add water at home.
Yeah, exactly. It's just there. So yeah, it's and also you've got to think that every time you concentrate something, I've got less packaging because you're getting a smaller bottle as well. So instead of kind of your 500 ml spray bottle being something you have to recycle every time, if you've got a concentrate where you're refilling, you can just use that infinite times. I mean, especially the plastic we use is ocean safe, what's the word, prevented ocean plastic. So it's kind of second, third generation even. It's plastic that's been stopped going in the ocean and then repurposed, and then that is infinitely reusable. So it's just the whole purpose behind these products is that they're multi-use, they're multi-purpose. You don't need to buy them all the time. You'll buy them once, and then that will last you for X amount of months, and then the bottle will last you for hopefully for life.
That's such a great idea, and I think it's also, like, nice to have the convenience of doing it at home as well, because I don't know if you've got one of these near you, but where I live in Kent, there are a couple of these, refill shops. So you
Mhm.
could take your spray bottle and go and fill up with a cleaning product, and I couldn't tell you what it is, from the refill shop as you can your pasta and
Yeah.
dried things. But then that means saving your containers, going somewhere. I know it's not a big inconvenience, it really shouldn't be, but it can sometimes feel like it. So I think it's really good that this is something that people can do at home as well, because I think convenience is just key for lots of us.
Yeah, that was something again. I've just been the amount of thought that have gone into these products is quite staggering. The amount of
You can
years that's
tell.
just been like going back and round in circles, and that was one of the big questions. But I have 5 kids. Some of them are quite young. As I said, I mean, they're now 6, but we've got twins at the bottom. Um, I can't even make it to those shops. I haven't got the headspace to go and refill, and I felt terrible all the time for not doing it. And yeah, to me, if this pops through your letterbox and you can then refill, it's really easy. It doesn't take up much space in your cupboard to say, you don't have to save, you don't have to store like a massive 5 litre somewhere. It's literally 100 ml bottle, which is like the size of a small cosmetics bottle. Yeah, it's easy.
Because it is so unique, so you've put a lot of thought into all of this, and I think what you're offering is different to anything else that I've seen. If you combine all of the elements of what you're offering, how easy or hard has that been to communicate to customers? Because
I
it
think
is
it's
different.
Yeah, I think it's quite hard. I think we're still going through the process of trying to get them all the messages across, because actually I didn't really realize, there's quite a lot of messages there. And that is quite tricky, I must admit. Yes. And yeah, definitely haven't got it perfect yet. But we're just continually trying to work on the copy for the website. And just trying to get that message across. But yeah, you're right. It's a challenge when you've got kind of multiple USPs, as it were. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, it's great, isn't it? Because obviously it gives you a lot to talk about, but it must be hard to get all of the messages across.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So how and where are you selling your products at the moment?
At the moment on the website, so that's kind of launched now. And yeah, kind of exploring other avenues, just setting up Amazon at the moment. So yeah, and then we will be launching into smaller shops as soon as we're able to.
Oh, amazing. So is that something that you've got lined up, or is that on the plans for next year?
It's
I should say we're recording this in December.
yes, yeah, I would say early next year. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I will let you know once they're available other places.
Yeah, it was really exciting because you mentioned this has taken a long time to develop. So how long was the development process, and how long have the products been available to sale? Just to give people an idea, because I think we're all under the misconception that things happen quickly. So I think it's really good to share that.
Okay, so I think development in total took about 3 years. Um, it could have been quicker, possibly. I don't know. I don't know if it could have been quicker, but obviously have young kids. I'm running another business, like the cleaning business. I possibly took me a bit longer, but having spoken to quite a few manufacturers, they seem to say like, yeah, this kind of product takes years to develop, because you'll think you've got somewhere with it, and then suddenly something will react to something else, and then you have to start again and start reformulating, and then you've got to do your compatibility tests, and then you've got to do your stability tests, and yeah, it's a long process. Plus, manufacturers are busy, very busy, especially when you're a startup company. You're not ordering, the huge amounts that some of the big brands are. So, you won't be priority either. So, yeah, it takes ages, honestly. And then obviously just trying to spread the word is slow as well. Yeah, I'm always kind of listening out for other product businesses, how they've done it. Um, but yeah, they launched for sale. Can't think where we are now. I think it was August they launched for sale on the website.
No, is that really, so we're recording in very early December, so that really isn't a long
Yeah,
time at
it's
all.
not at all. No, right in the beginning.
And thank you for sharing as well about the timelines, because as I said, I think it's easy to assume that things happen quickly and easily. So is there a lot of, I'm imagining there is, but how do you cope with the, because you seem very relaxed about, I think one thing that panic me is all of the compliance and making sure the products are safe and can be used on people. How did you find that process? Because I think that would have really failed me, I think.
Um, it's been fine. I mean, I just took advice from. I think the thing is that once I got using my freelance chemist, and then I took lots of advice from them. Um, they know what they're talking about. They do it all the time. So I didn't have to become an expert in that, but I did a lot of research. I mean, I must say. And then we had the whole thing of like the rules all changing, because after leaving Europe, and then there was that certain thing where one regulation stopped and another regulation came in. So then things changed. So yeah, we've had to change the label a few times. But again, the manufacturers and the chemists, and if that's their job, that's their bread and butter, so they do know what they're talking about. I would also say that in this industry there's not enough regulation. I think there's a lot more in cosmetics, and that really worries me. So it's something that I could have launched them from my house with no testing, no regulations. That would still be okay. And that was something I was not going to do.
Wow. So you could be selling them on your website, and
Yeah.
you could be making them in your kitchen.
Mhm.
Wow. I assume that you would need further testing if you were going to, try and sell them in stores
Yeah,
and
definitely.
things, but
Yes.
yeah, that is scary, isn't it?
Yeah. So that was a kind of key decision of mine, that everything had to be manufactured, um, safe. Because one of my, major drivers of doing this is that, so people don't really think about the link between cleaning products and health. And there is a statistic that I heard a while back that a professional cleaner is 25% more likely to get lung cancer, which is really scary. And you can only really relate that to the cleaning products. People that will, that used to work historically in kind of like traditional laundries as well. And if you then start to think about it, you think you're breathing this, you're spraying something, and you're literally breathing it in. So it starts to make a lot of sense. So I knew that I wanted to try and make things safer, healthier, for people who clean. Some you don't have to be a professional cleaner to clean a lot. Some people really enjoy cleaning, but I don't want people to be at risk from their cleaning products. So for me, that's a natural step to making sure that they're highly compliant and highly regulated.
Well, thank you. And how easy or difficult was it to find a manufacturer that could do what you wanted? Because as you mentioned, you're like a startup brand, small production runs. Was that an easy thing to find?
Um, I didn't find it too difficult actually.
Good. No,
I
that's
think
that's really positive.
No, I think it's this testament to a couple of smaller brands in the cleaning product sector that have done really well. And I think they probably would have found it from kind of reading their websites and just hearing things from manufacturers. I think they would have found it a lot harder. I think they did the hard work, and then it wasn't. I'm not saying it was easy, but there are websites out there that where you can put a pitch on, say this is my product, this is what I want, and then manufacturers will contact you. I think it's a particular website that cosmetics companies use quite a lot. So I used that, but again, I had to do quite a lot of research to get to that point. And I think if I hadn't found that website, then I wouldn't have kind of managed to contact the manufacturers. But yeah, they were all quite open to the idea. Negotiating smaller product runs, that was harder.
Yeah, I can imagine. And also, I guess negotiating, did you have to do any negotiation around where you came in the queue, as it were?
Yeah, I mean, I think you just are at the bottom. I think there's no negotiation.
You just have to
Until
accept that.
you just have to accept it. Yeah, I mean, some of them, if they're dealing with large companies, they're producing, a lot for them. So yeah, it's just the pecking order of things, I think.
Yeah. But then, this is a problem for now, but,
Yeah,
in time it will become less of
yeah,
an issue.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm hopeful of that, definitely. I have heard one manufacturer told me that they've heard of people basically bringing all the manufacturing in-house, so getting a warehouse, getting all the equipment, and getting their own team. Um, so yeah, who knows? Don't know where we'll go, but I'd rather not.
Yeah, that's a big responsibility, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah, definitely.
Oh, that's exciting. So yeah, so I'm so excited to speak to you and right at the beginning of your journey as well. So we might have you back on in another year and
Yeah.
see where things are. So thank you for all you've shared, Lauren. And before I leave you today, can you let me know what your number one piece of advice would be for other product creators?
Ooh. I think, and everyone says it, don't they? But just know who your market is, what you're here for. Like, just know it. And then possibly make choices. Let your choices be kind of governed by that as well. Um, because that, once you're marketing, once you're selling, that's all you have to think about, isn't it? It's getting it to the right people. So perhaps you might have, if you knew that right at the beginning with a really clear head, perhaps you might make different choices to what you would assume that you would make. So yeah, I think that's the major thing.
I think that's great advice. Thank you. And it's really clear that you're so clear on what your USPs are and what your messages are. And yeah, that must make it so much easier to talk about your products and to get the message out there.
I hope so. I mean, they're
Oh, I
great,
definitely think
and
so.
I should have probably said earlier. So with my allergies, the I was just going to have an unfragranced option, but then thinking back to like the reason why I started all this about something smelling nice and making the house smell good is because it actually makes us feel really good when things smell really good. Um, So a lot of my work was around working out how to have a low allergen fragrance, because I knew we couldn't use essential oils because they're quite highly allergenic. And I spoke to a kind of aromatherapist right at the beginning, and she just said, in her opinion, they're being massively overused. So she highly recommended we didn't go down that road. And then I looked at, most of them have limonene and limonene and things like that, which is quite highly common allergens. So they were out anyway. So yeah, I had a low allergen fragrance created. So whilst they're all non-toxic, low allergen, there is the option of having a fragrance. So, and it smells really nice. So yeah. I think a lot
Oh,
of
that's
people naturally
amazing.
just assume that if it's, lower allergen and non-toxic, it just won't have a smell. But we have that option. But yeah, it's really nice to have a nice smelling home, I think.
It is, and I had made the same assumption. I'll be honest, I'd made the assumption that it wouldn't, because often those eco-friendly, gentle cleaners, like you say, they don't smell of anything,
Yeah, yeah,
which is a
yeah.
bit of a shame, because if you spend the time cleaning your house, you want it to smell like you've just cleaned it.
You do. Yes, it's good to have the option, I think, definitely. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for everything you've shared, Lauren. So we're going to link through to your website, your social media, and everything else in the show notes. And thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.